if you see a circumstance where humanity's existence could be threatened, then you have to put a lot of your ideological motivations aside, because what good is it going to do if we feel good about ourselves and we're all gone?
Hi everyone, this is Veronica Kirilenko of the New American Magazine. Today we're in Washington, D.C. at the Rage Against the War Machine, and I'm speaking with Mr. Garland, Garland Nixon, and it's a pleasure. He's a DC-based political analyst and commentator. Mr. Nixon, what brought you here today?
Well, you know, I think it's very important that people of various ideologies come together for such an important issue. I think, you know, I've always felt that it's important that we find a way to overlook the areas where we disagree and find some areas where we can all agree on, because you can build a bigger coalition. And with the issue of war and nuclear war hanging over our head, I think it's critical to build some kind of a movement like this.
Yes, of course, but is it really concerning to you that the nuclear war can really be an option here in this situation?
Absolutely. And, you know, if we look back historically, there were several instances where most of us didn't know that we were on the edge of nuclear war. You know, 61, 1983, things have happened that most people didn't know that society was on the edge. Well, we know it now, and we have an opportunity to act, and I think we have a responsibility to act.
How exactly do you propose to act?
And that is to continue to build a coalition, to bring out as many people as we can, to make it clear to our leaders what we want, and maybe we can get to a point where we can get people to vote outside of the two-party system. And once we can do that, and it's not going to take much. We only need a couple of people in the Senate. The reality is, if the Senate is even and you get maybe 3 people in the Senate, they can block everything. So the opportunity is there, and I think the big opportunity, there is an opportunity to disrupt the two-party system in a way that we can stop the war machine.
So in this concrete situation, when we hear ex-president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, who is now serving as a chairman of the Russia's Security Council, threatening to nuke Ukraine, and when we hear President Zelensky saying that NATO should strike first, and then Medvedev comes back and says, well, we'll make you burn. What do we do in this situation when they're just exchanging threats like that?
Well, to be quite frank, those are the things that I don't take as serious. I see them as political rhetoric. I don't think you have to be afraid of the political rhetoric. I think that behind the scenes, you have to be concerned with the military actions that are going on. The political rhetoric is always going to be there, and I do believe that oftentimes countries do a, good cop, bad cop thing, where one of the country's leaders will say, well, I think we're looking for peace, and they have someone else that says, no, we'll crush them to the ground, and that's fairly normal. But again, it demonstrates that the time that we're in is very dangerous.
Yes, of course, it's dangerous, but how do we make it work between the two, between Russia and Ukraine right now? Because peace is needed urgently, and I know that you agree.
Yeah, well, I think what's important is for people to understand the dynamics that we're dealing with here. If you view this purely through the context of these two individual countries and a war started on February 24th, you won't understand what's needed. You have to look at this through a historical context. You have to look at this through the dynamics of the people that are leading this country as an empire and what their true motivations are. And it's not just about Russia. Then you understand China, you understand Iran, and you understand that we have people leading the United States who are not looking for a peaceful resolution. They're looking for world domination. And as long as they're continuing to look for world domination, they will continue to have violent confrontations with anyone who they see as a potential either a potential competitor, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Sir, what's your message of hope to Americans watching at home?
My message of hope is for people to learn to set some of their ideological beliefs aside, to prioritize things. And if you see a circumstance where humanity's existence could be threatened, then you have to put a lot of your ideological motivations aside, because what good is it going to do if we feel good about ourselves and we're all gone?
Absolutely. Sir, would you like to tell us what's the best way to follow you and your work?
Certainly. I am on Twitter at Garland Nixon. I do a YouTube show, and I've got a lot of followers, and I cover the Ukraine war, and I kind of an anti-neocon. I talk a lot about the dynamics that I was just mentioning, world dynamics, U.S. empire, etc.
Thank you, Mr. Nixon. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.